Memorial Day as we get summer underway. We'll hit the phones too, 545-9950 if y'all want to get on that. Alan and company bringing you the show tonight. It's so nice to see the Thompsons the other night, the Thompson family. Such a great group of people. When you've got a couple of generations and a whole family working in a business, I'm telling you, it's true of a lot of our advertisers. They're just going to take that extra care. This isn't some job. This is their family thing. And so you'll find that genuineness when you go to Allen and Company. Not only is Allen an excellent master jeweler, which means he can design or fix or rearrange anything you want, redesign, broken chains, missing stones, things that happen in life. You do wear this stuff, so it has damage from time to time. Y'all let them help you with that. Allen tries to turn it around within the week, and everything stays right there in their vault. Then if you want to have something custom designed, whether it be just something weird and funky because it's what you want, he'll do it for you, or something more traditional like an engagement setting or ring upgrade. You're working with a sweet group of people that just want you to be happy with the same diamonds that the whole world has, but all that custom work. In Vestavia on Highway 31 on that big hill, it's Allen and Company. All right, Trump just put out a weird post. Let me read it. I'm just looking at it right as we were coming back to air. It's about the Iran situation. I mean, he is all over the place, and I think it's by design. He's sort of crazy like a fox that way. The other side doesn't know how to take his comments. That leaves some of his detractors and supporters bewildered as to what are we doing? Are we bombing them or not? So anyway, here's what Trump just put out, it seems, just a few minutes ago. He said if Iran surrenders and admits their Navy is gone and resting at the bottom of the sea and the Air Force is no longer with us, and if their entire military walks out of Tehran, weapons dropped and hands held high, each shouting, I surrender, while wildly waving the white flag, and if their entire remaining leadership signs all necessary documents of surrender and admit their defeat to the great power. Did he really write this? Yeah, he probably did. And admit their defeat to the great power and force of the magnificent USA, the failing New York Times, the China Street Journal, is that what he calls the Wall Street Journal now? Corrupt and now irrelevant CNN, or all members of the fake news media will headline that Iran had a masterful and brilliant victory over the United States of America. It wasn't even close. He's just taking a shot at the coverage because they keep trying to pretend somehow that the Iranians are winning. So anyway, all right. So we're watching that because you get a sense, even though it seems these fits and starts are continuing, that we'll be dealing with something this afternoon. I don't know why. I just get this sense. There's a lot of motion right now in that situation. Tila is up next. We'll go to the phones. Again, y'all jump in here, 545-9950, whatever you got. I think I've covered the heavy stuff so far today. Tila, what's up with you?
That's a tough act to follow after that headline. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Well, I think we may have talked about this before, but it's gotten worse, and I want to circle around back to it. And in the sports world, there is definite something going on with all of the cameramen zooming in and reading whoever they have reading lips. It is just taking place in every sport. I've talked with several friends. I've had people watching, whatever sport they're watching and looking, and it's just such an obvious thing. I just don't understand. I think at some point it's going to come out, how this has been going on and what all has been accomplished through it. Because when you can tell what these coaches are saying, what the players are saying amongst themselves, just signals, just everything. There's conversation galore in every sport that's being read. And I've never seen cameramen just zoom in and stay on people forever.
Do you mean like the people that are doing the coverage, or are you saying the opposing team has their own cameramen?
No, it's the TV.
Yeah,
it's the TV people. Yeah, and I, like I said, I don't watch every sport out there, but I've run it past several people who watch quite a variety, and they are now saying, okay, I see this. I definitely see this.
Well, for a long time, the NFL coaches, AJ, you've seen this too. When you watch an NFL game, when they're giving instructions over the headset, they'll cover their mouth with that big play chart that they carry around.
Right.
They'll cover their mouths or look the other way because That's actually been going on for a long time. Sign stealing in baseball is decades old. And remember was it the A's that were beating on trash cans to send signals or something like that?
Yep.
So
I mean, even that New England Patriots, one of the coaches was filming one of the other teams' practices.
They were going to the practices and stuff. So spying in sports, I tell you what the bigger problem is, I think, Tila, is online sports gambling is now taking over. I think it's so corrupt. It's infecting the game in ways where they don't just bet on the outcome of the game. They bet, say, some quarterback's going to get so many yards or a field goal will be missed in the fourth quarter, and somehow it just happens the right way for people. And I think they're shaving the game a little bit. And young men are getting addicted to that stuff too. It's a mess.
Well, yeah. Well, you saw the basketball, when they caught the guys at the basketball thing, and that was just a huge scandal. But when you said that about zooming, like the coaches covering their mouths, if you notice now, the cameraman will zoom way in and hold it right there. And if somebody has certain type of, photography capabilities, they can actually take a screenshot from their phone and possibly blow that up and even see it. There wouldn't be any reason for them to zoom in on that for so long. Or the iPads on the side of the sidelines when the guys come off and they're starting to go over what just happened out there.
Yep.
They go and zoom all the way in. It's insane, but just notice it because something's really behind it. I think it'll be big one day that the lip reading's going on. Because I have been around, I taught at a school where all of the deaf and hard of hearing kids in the county were bused into my school. So they talked about that all the time. The lip reading is
because they could
really
read they could read
very easy.
How about that?
Yeah.
But even still, I mean, if you're a good, if you're
Appreciate the call.
person who played the sports,
right?
And I watch some of the commentators who used to be like former quarterbacks and stuff like that. They can actually already kind of know what play is being run just by the position of the players.
Oh yeah, if you're reading a defense, you kind of can call that. It gets more sophisticated than I can really discuss. But stealing signs, shaving points. I mean, it goes back to the Chicago White Sox scandal, all that stuff. It's sports. Sports has always had the capability of being corrupt. We know the mob. In that basketball case, about a year ago, they caught. Actually, in that case, it wasn't just players messing around with the game itself, but they were using the celebrity status of players to lure suckers into poker games that they had rigged, and the players had no idea. They were just. It's like, hey, name a basketball player. I can't name it.
I think one was Chauncey Billups was one of them.
Yeah, Chauncey's going to be at our table tonight. This is a big fish game. You got to have $100,000 to get in. That's an ego thing. Then they just take their money, and then they pay the players just to show up and get in the game. It's pretty sophisticated. The minute that I remember listening to that news conference, I was working on something outside. I remember that was on. I couldn't believe what I was hearing when they were detailing the charges from the federal level. And the first thing I thought was 100% this is going on in college football too. There's no way this is just basketball. It's any sport where there's money on the table. And now I've seen some statistics. There's more money floating around in the gambling markets than in the advertising markets that usually power the sport. Does that make sense? The endorsements, the ads, the network fees, all that. There's a whole universe of money associated with gambling on these sports. And yeah, anytime there's that kind of incentive and temptation, I think there's going to be some corruption associated with it. I blame the Jews, AJ. I don't know about you. I blame the Jews and the alien Jews from the UFOs.
I'm just saying, it's all about money, right? And we know how Jews love money, right?
Nowadays, that's what everybody does nowadays. You got to blame them or climate change. It was just climate change. And then AI came along and they quit talking about climate change. Now they all hate Jewish people and whatever, non-free range GMO baseball, whatever is new now.
But I mean, come on now. I mean, you got to understand, there's a lot of money being spent in these sports. Talking about football, baseball, basketball. And we know we could watch some of the games and be like, yo, come on, ref. You see that. Like, the dude was walking halfway through the court without dribbling the basketball. Y'all didn't call not one travel. Yes. We know it happens. To the point where now I think baseball is starting to use these AI systems now where players can challenge a call now. So I mean, we know it. We know it happens. It's like, come on now.
Can they challenge a no call yet? Because to me, that's where the fudge factor is.
Mm-hmm.
No calls.
Yeah.
Bad spots, little things like that wind up being huge in a game. No calls are the worst. Somebody flagrantly does something, and the ref is suddenly Ray Charles. He's like Ronnie Millsap over there. He's Mr. Magoo. You know what I'm saying?
Especially if a ref like does not like a player or a team, you already know you already know what's about to happen.
Do you think it's more the refs or the players?
I think it's a combination of both. Because because you think about flopping, right?
Which sport do you think is the worst?
Basketball,
probably.
Basketball,
it's probably easier to do in basketball.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to think about it. Flopping was a big thing, right?
Yes.
And then on top of that, you had some players who were known to prevent particular points from actually happening because they knew if they made so many amount of points. The amount of payout was going to be. Now, if you're betting on the game, and that's why you can't really bet on yourself because then, you got point shaming. Well, we know it happens all the time because we get players who we know are really, really good, but then you miss a layup that you hit all the time.
Just a little off that day, or maybe you just don't show up. You got a cold.
Right.
You're not going to make the game.
Exactly.
Wasn't that one of the charges I don't even know. Thank you, Tila, for getting us down this road. Very different than what I thought we'd be talking about. But remember, one of those players faked an injury in that FBI bus so he wouldn't be playing that night.
Yep.
Like he faked a leg injury or something like that. That's what they accused him of anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just say this. Sportsmanship's gone. It's gone. It's been gone. It started with the bravado on the sidelines and some of the end zone celebrations that started getting out of hand. Now the fans are fighting in the stands. Everybody's got money riding on the outside gambling. The TV networks are corrupt as hell. College sports is just it has really lost its authenticity and sincerity to me. And I used to AJ, I would sit and watch a baseball game for 3 hours. Back in the day, I could sit and watch 3 hour baseball. Plus, we're all ADD now. I can't tell you the last time I sat through a whole football game like in a stadium.
Right.
I can make it to maybe get into the third quarter. I got to go. It's too crowded and hot in here.
I could watch it. See, like I could watch it when I'm in the stadium. When I'm actually like in person watching it, it's different because it's the atmosphere. It's the people. It's the music. It's the entertainment. It's all those things that's keeping my attention. Like when I'm at home and I'm watching it by myself, man, I'm scrolling on my phone. I'm barely paying attention.
Yeah, it's because the TV. Yep. I remember in the days, what was saving the NFL back in the day was this fantasy football stuff. Mm-hmm. And I had a buddy that was really into it before the internet was ubiquitous. And I'd go over to his house on Sunday to have 5 televisions. It was just crazy because back then TVs were chunky and heavy and you just didn't have little flat screens. This dude had 5 TVs set up, keeping up with his fantasy football. I was like, man, you got a problem. Your kids are outside in the yard. You need to go out there and play with them. You're messed up right now. He would watch football all day on Sunday, obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And then that became money and, whatever.
But I know if it's your job, then that's different. Like for me, I know when, since I've been in news, I would watch all the different news networks. I'll have each one of my, platforms I'm using as far as to get information. Like I'll have Fox, I'll have CNN, I'll have MSNBC.
We got all the networks on here, but I'm not gambling on them.
Right. Well, now you can.
Now you can bet. Yeah, you can bet on the outcome of the Texas race tonight. That's where they're getting odds with these Polymarket and all that stuff. They're getting odds on political races that are sometimes more accurate than the pollsters. The theory is if your money talks and people will put their money where the legitimate outcome is. I don't know if anybody's ever gone back and done a comparative analysis, but it'd be funny to see that.
Yeah.
All right, I told y'all we'd talk about anything. You bring it, we'll talk about it. 545-9950, breaking news and headlines. We get it. Allen and Company bring. I already talked about Allen and Company, didn't I? Let's talk about All-American medals. They both start with A, and they're back-to-back on my list. Here's a company that can get that steel building built for you if you've got a project that you want to get constructed this summer or anytime. And here's what you're going to get from them: fully integrated work from design to delivery. They're bringing it on their own trucks. They manufacture all the components, so you know they'll be precise and will line up well. They'll help you with budgeting. Again, that design work, their turnaround is faster than their competitors. Their price is better than their competitors, again, because it's fully integrated and controlled. They just don't have any supply chain issues that are going to disrupt their delivery to you. So they're not only going to turn around the stamped plans, but the building itself, get it delivered so you can stay on schedule. And in addition to helping you find financing or whatever, they can help getting you lined up with a contractor. These are great folks. Two families, they've been doing steel since the 1960s in a city that was built on steel, and they just know a thing or two about getting your project out of the ground. I love my pole barn. Some people have other structures in mind, commercial stuff, retail build outs, whatever, even residential red iron. Some people having to use red iron in their house projects. This is source it locally with All American Metals. You can get them at aa-metal.com and get started on that space as you grow this year. aa-metal.com. Back in a minute. It's 324. Let's keep on going this afternoon. Most of the rain so far this afternoon is staying down south of Montgomery, but we still got those possibilities. I saw a long-term map, too, that showed it a lot cooler here in the southeast for the next several days. There are all these people out there talking about a super El Nino, a mega El Nino, the first since 1877. That's just where the Pacific Ocean warms up. And by the way, before some moron tries to tell you it's air temperature from man-made engines that are causing the sea warming, it is not. It is coming from a subsurface source underneath the ground, probably volcanic or tectonic activity heating up the oceans, and that's always been the case. But that could affect us. And one of the things it could do, it repositions rain. I'm not trying to play climatologist, but I've had to study this stuff going, what are we talking about here? There can times be when the water cycle gets thrown off, whole crop collapses in parts of the world. Some deaths are attributed to it when this kind of stuff happens. But for the Southeast, it may mean a lot of this kind of rain this summer where we just have, we're just inundated with water while other parts of the country remain in drought conditions. Again, it's not a balanced distribution. So anyway, I wanted to throw that at you. I was doing some reading on that during the break. Let's talk about riots. Here we go. All right, so we're in an election year, and outside of the redistricting fights and the mapping and all the headlines on that today and for the last couple of weeks, one of the other things optically that's going on are the Democrats are trying to fire up the old playbook of creating tension in the streets of the country using, constant protest and riots. Well, they're back to not only are they back to the 2020 playbook, they're trying to resurrect the riots against ICE and the deportations that are happening. They're literally out of ideas. This is all they've got is to be in opposition to anything the Trump administration is doing. So they're back out in New Jersey, same place where a congresswoman was arrested. Her large ass showed up again today, back on the scene where she was arrested for assaulting a federal officer. So they're doing it again. It's all for the TV cameras. It's all for show. The Trump administration, I think, wisely pulled out of that situation in Minnesota or redirected in a way that didn't give them the optics because they realized they were sort of being played. It worked simply. Go out and send these buffoons out, largely paid to confront federal officers and pick a fight, knowing that their own protesters are going to lose that fight. And then when they lose that fight, play the victim and then get on television and try to make the Trump administration look mean or something. They're doing it again. They're trying to do it again. The good thing so far in the New Jersey setup is the cops have had total control of it. I mean, they'll put up barriers. They try to block ICE vehicles. They're just moving them. They're arresting people. It's really stupid, but we've all seen it so many times. I don't even think it has the same sting or effect that it would have had when all this stuff was so unnerving, especially back in 2020. And all that stuff was fake and manufactured as well. Paid for, organized, trained. These are trained protesters. But it's about all they're down to. I saw some statistics the other day about the Democrat National Committee's money on hand. Y'all, they're in debt to a tremendous tune. The Republicans, as weak as they are and as feckless as they can be, somehow have $122 million in cash on hand. The Democrats have -3. They are, I think it was $17 million in debt, and they got $14 million cash on hand. They can't even pay the bills. Wonder what happened. I'll tell you what happened. Act Blue got busted up. It was illegal money coming in from outside the country being laundered through that organization. The SPLC and their activism has been trimmed back from the indictment that they're facing. The grant system through USAID, where they were using our money against the country to fund nefarious efforts. That supply line got dried up a little over a year and a half ago. This stuff's real. It's having a cumulative effect, and these parasitic political types are having to get by on their own right now. Again, because of the way we draw districts in this country that are favorable to each party, the Congress will still remain on the House side probably pretty close, despite the terrible candidates like this absolute Nazi running in Maine. Y'all seen the Nazi in Maine? He's a straight Nazi. The Democrats are backing him. They don't care. Anyway, it's going to be a weird year. More on all of this when we get back. Leland Live. It's 3:35. That's right. Hey, who was that group I sent you this weekend that was like they were on Soul Train? They were a Birmingham band. I'd never heard of them, but I'd heard the song before. Who was that group? I forgot the name of the group.
Oh gosh, hold on, I'm about to pull
The
it up.
Contours?
Right
No,
no,
it was a band from Birmingham that made national television. They were on Soul Train. I don't know why the clip pops up. I'm looking at music stuff this weekend.
The Controllers.
The Controller. And
yes.
I knew this. I'd heard the song growing up, but I didn't know it was a Birmingham band or the name of the band.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of talking about that this weekend, and I was like, there's a lot of other bands that were from here.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know about the Commodores. They're more Tuskegee than they are Birmingham. But you have some artists that have some ties to Birmingham, like the OJs.
Yes.
They have ties to Bessemer, a.k.a. Big Bessemer, Frederica, who's she always got to say Big Bessemer every time.
Why does she say Big Bessemer?
I still don't know because I'm not from Bessemer, so I don't know why you got to say Big Bessemer.
Well, just do what she says. That's fine.
I just don't want to get cussed out.
I got you. Me neither.
But, I mean, obviously, you got Ruben. You got a lot of, talented folks here, man, for real.
The funniest line about the Commodores, I remember I was watching an interview. I think it was with Lionel. And like he's my friend, I call him Lionel. And he was talking about how
I call him Richie for short.
When they came up with the name for the Commodores, he said they literally opened up a dictionary just to flip and put their finger on a word that might sound good. He goes, "We came real close to being the Commodes." I never forgot that line. I thought, that's how you do it sometimes.
I mean, because back in the day, we didn't have AI generated name generation generator to kind of help you come up with a name, right? You just got to figure out what to do. So sometimes you just had to go through a dictionary and just say, what sounds good? Hey, that's what you went by.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, the Controllers, man. Yeah, I forgot about.
They did a little dance. They had choreography, and I was like, I grew up watching that every Saturday. I mean, my whole family, they'd watch American Bandstand, Soul Train, Hee Haw. They watched all those kind of shows with the music and the skits and the fun. Yeah, anyhow, all right, so now back to tragedy from that light note. This thing in Washington State looks like a huge deal. I'm trying to gather some information on it. When we started the show, I was about to get on an analysis of the new court rulings. There are a lot of court rulings on the congressional maps all over the Southeast today. But all we knew were there had been a chemical explosion at a plant in Washington State, a place called Longview, Washington. And now we're understanding that, according to some of the early reports, multiple people have been killed in this thing, and there are multiple people missing, and there's a huge evacuation, even though the officer that was doing the news conference earlier said that they had it under control. In other words, it's not an ongoing meltdown kind of crisis at this plant. It is called the Nippon facility. And if I remember right, I think that's a steel company. There was a Nippon Steel that was trying to do business here in the United States, and it may be completely unrelated. There is a lot of Japanese business on the West Coast, but they said it was a chemical plant, so it was probably affiliated with some of their ancillary businesses. Emergency crews are, of course, still on the scene looking for people, and they've not yet confirmed the number of casualties, the number of deaths, or no close to examination or solution, of course, to what would have caused a massive explosion like this. But you could see the sense of urgency from the networks when they went to the story. We just we're not an hour and a half ago up on any of these details. So if need be, of course, we'll check back in with that one and see if anything else develops. Let me scroll here a couple more lines down to see if they've what the rescue effort is like. I shared a quick story of my own past covering a chemical. It was actually one of those massive tanks. I think it was a 1 million gallon tank, if my memory serves. And some truck driver bringing chemicals into the plant put the wrong chemical in the wrong tank one night. He just backed up to the wrong tank, unloaded his chemical into that tank, and it caused some other chemical to react. And AJ, I've never seen anything like this. This thing looked like the sun in the dark. I was able to get super close before they put up the perimeter, and eventually they pushed me back out as well. It was one of those things. I think they evacuated within 2 miles of the thing. They thought the whole thing was going to blow, and that all they could do was they eventually determined all they could do was they took fire trucks, and I'll never forget the bravery of these firefighters to getting that close to that possible explosive tank, and they were just dumping water on the exterior of the tank to keep the temperature down. The theory was, if I remember all this, and man, this was 30 something years ago, probably 35 years ago when I covered this story. And if they could keep the temperature down, there was a less likelihood of explosion. The only way to do that was from externally. So they had this convoy of trucks. There wasn't a good hydrant system close by, so they were feeding water from other trucks into the main boom trucks that had the big, tall boom, I guess, hoses on them. And they were just dumping water on this thing all night just to keep it from blowing up. And I think it wound up making national news that night too. So it's just how quickly industrial accidents can happen. But this seems to be a pretty big story. You know, if it's a localized incident and there's not much we can do about it over here in Alabama, because industrial accidents do happen. But what we're understanding now is this was a mass casualty incident, and we just don't have any other word other than that. So,
yeah, I think the issue with this is that there's still a lot of individuals who have been unaccounted for.
Yeah,
according to news reports. So, and until they can actually reach out to the family members, once they can confirm who are no longer with us, then they will release those numbers. But they said that what ended up happening, this happened about like 7:30 in the morning, their time,
which would be
about 5:30. No, it'd be
like 10:30 here.
10:30 here, yeah, something like that. And so it was at a paper mill at this place. This place is like 53 minutes north of Portland, Oregon.
Nice.
And it says that the tank had ruptured, and what was in this tanker was a white liquor, which is a highly caustic alkaline solution that is used to break down solid wood chips into a pulp and paper production process. So whatever happened, and they didn't really say what caused the explosion, but whatever this white liquor is very highly toxic. And so the only reason why they haven't really put out more information, because there's still people unaccounted for.
People. Good stuff, AJ. That's the way to dig. Again, it was called the Nippon facility. I know that there's a company, a big steel company called Nippon. It's a Japanese company.
It's Nippon Danawave Pulp and Paper Mill in Longview, Washington.
Now, we got a lot of paper production here in the South, and some people that work or listen here to the show have worked in those paper facilities, and they probably all use very similar technology. But, man, that's a big old deal here today. Prayers up for folks out there on the West Coast. Let me see what else we can do before we get to the break. 545-9950. If y'all want to get in on it, y'all bring it, and we will put you on the radio. That is what we do. I think we've talked enough about what's going on out in Texas today. They're at the polls. Texas does that early voting, and then they have today's same-day voting, and they have to count the votes by tonight. And if they're doing legitimate exit polling, they should be able to call that race pretty soon after the polls close. Based on what we've been able to glean from the pollsters out there today. One other state that's having a race, it's interesting, Nancy Mace, who just continuously looked for attention in Congress, decided to leave Congress and go run for governor of South Carolina. I wasn't even following that race, but I knew at some point it would come to fruition, and I guess that race is either today or next week, and she is right now. It's a super crowded race. There's like 8 candidates running for governor out there, and she's running in 4th, but none of them have more than about 17%. So that's similar to some races we had here that eventually led to these runoff elections here in Alabama. It's just crowded races. It's hard to get to 50% plus one. Along those lines, we'll go back over some Alabama election stories. Today, in the AG's race, Jay Mitchell picked up the endorsement of Pam Casey, who was the other candidate in the race that did not make the runoff. Again, I don't know if endorsements like that will sway their actual voters. Sometimes people are voting, again, against people, and sometimes it's for people. But she did endorse Jay, who came in second to Catherine Robertson. And so we're off to the races, no pun in all that, as that is, that'll be here in 3 weeks. So big doings, I guess 3 weeks from today, I guess, is our runoff here in Alabama. What else? We got anything else on that? I thought we had other state news. Yeah, just some back and forth stuff as it gets cranked up in the. I hadn't seen any reliable polling. People are starting to really dial in on the Senate race. It's always that way when it gets down to sort of a, two-person race, and I haven't seen anything reliable. There was a. It's not actually a push poll, but somebody told me this was a push poll. That's not what a push poll is, but I don't have time to be all lectury about that. But it was a very biased poll put out by a super PAC that has an interest in the race. But it did show Jared Hudson in the lead. I'd take all that with a grain of salt. I think the race has tightened. It's always going to tighten, and we'll see where it goes from here. You can expect probably some more noise in that Senate race very, very soon. It's awkward timing when you make a runoff, then you got to get geared up for a runoff, and then you turn around and you got a Memorial Day holiday weekend where people largely have you tuned out. But anyway, updates on any of that stuff if we get any other headlines and all that business. But other than that, that's pretty much the politics of today. All eyes on Texas as the Republicans are about to make a statement about the establishment rhinos. Do we even still call them rhinos anymore? I don't know. There's always a slur. But this Cornyn, man, he's going down in flames. Here's the question. Do we do a Cornyn drinking game tonight? Will he mention Trump in his concession speech? Will he whine and go to the Senate and be bitter and talk about what he's going to vote against? Because that's what Cassidy did. You know, he got wiped out in Louisiana. This is a sequence of weak Republicans getting thinned out in this election cycle, and I'm here for it. I mean, even here in Alabama, I think it was 9 legislative incumbents got wiped out. They're finally getting challenged in the primaries, which is where all that action is in a red state, especially like Alabama. Let's talk about your money and your taxes real quick. Axiom Tax Resolution Group bringing you the show tonight. That's Perry Cronin. Y'all let him help. If you're just in fear or sick to your stomach over your tax debt with the IRS, it's bad enough that this code is abusive and they take way too much of our money and blow it on people that don't deserve it. They'll come after you if they think you owe money you're not paying. They will shut your life. They will shut your life down, and they've got incredible power. I've seen threat letters where they'll threaten other state agencies closing you down, going after all of your assets and businesses. So you don't have to play that game. You should know your rights. You should know how to make the harassment stop, and you should also know that Congress gave some relief to taxpayers years ago with programs like the Fresh Start Initiative that will help you get that debt settled for as much as 80% off that bill. Yeah, legitimately, if you actually owe that money, there's some programs that you might qualify for to get that reduced down to 20%. They just want you to deal with it. If you're running from them, they're going to chase you. If you assert yourself and have professional help like Perry Cronin at Axiom, they'll actually work with you, and they're supposed to. And he knows what the deadlines are. He knows what the programs are, how to approach that, what's reasonable. This is what he does. I mean, he's a CPA and the owner, but he really has carved out a niche, and there's not a better expert in the country. And you don't have to trust one of these TV firms. Just reach out to Perry. He's right here with us. Perry Cronin, Axiom Tax Resolution Group, 205tax.com, 205tax.com. Back in just a minute. All right, so Birmingham Broker next up here on the show. Craig's kind of got two businesses down there. He and Keith branched out actually with, of course, Michael down at Tapco. He's involved in this business too. But in addition to doing the car deals for us, they've opened up something called BB Electric Moto. Now, these aren't electric bicycles, kind of like what we have just for like, mountain bike stuff. These are actually, they look like little motorcycles and big motorcycles. They make them in all sizes and weight categories. They are super cool. I mean, super cool and tons of fun. And this is a whole new industry category. I grew up dirt biking with off-road bikes and go-karts, and it was just our whole life growing up. And now it's all electric. The kids love it. Kids love it. Adults love it. Craig has a riding group. He keeps telling me he wants me to come ride with him on Thursday nights. But y'all check out, while you're downtown, go check out BB Electric Moto and look at these incredible looking machines. I think they're very affordable for what you get, the weight value and the torque and the range and everything involved in them. And they'll go everywhere. Just go anywhere. Whole lot of fun. Meantime, if you got a car to sell or a truck or SUV, y'all can trust Birmingham Broker, as we have told you for years here on the show, to transact that deal for you so you don't have to fool with it. I don't like doing that stuff. Some people are natural hagglers. I was just working with my best buddy this weekend. AJ, we were doing I'm going to tell some old man stories now. My man Barry was up in Nashville. They actually opened up there's a real high-end guitar place up there that does so much business with him. They opened up for him yesterday, even though they were normally closed. So he reached out to me. We wound up connecting. He said they had this mandolin there that he knew I'd want. Mm-hmm. So, but I wasn't going to buy it. So I have a bunch of other instruments. I'm like, how about we do a little trade? So my man was hustling for me yesterday. He wound up bringing me this thing in the rain last night, like a drug deal on the side of the road. He had another one of our friends that grew up with us at home, and he got out of the truck and he said, "Is this the part where you cut the package open and taste it?" Because it looked like we were doing we do that. We'll just meet on the side of the road and swap all this stuff. But he helped me out quite a bit with that yesterday, and I picked up a good find. But bottom line is, how did I even get on this subject? Some people like to haggle and some people hate it. I'm a hater. I don't like doing it. So he took care of it for me yesterday and did a good job. Craig and them will do that for you when it comes to car, truck, or SUV sales and trading. If you got one for sale, you can try it yourself. You'll get more money with them. And it's no hassle, like it will be if you do it yourself. And you're not going to get ripped off like you do if you went and handed it to a dealer for free almost. It's BHAMBroker.com. Y'all let them help. BirminghamBroker.com. Speaking of these little motorcycles, I had a situation today. I was cutting through Cahaba Heights. Man, I'm just telling all the stories today. I had to, we had lunch over that way, and I took the back way through Cahaba Heights to get over to 280 to get over here to the station. And these two little kids, AJ, were going up the road on these little electric, I guess they were similar to the BB Electric motorcycles, but they look like little dirt bikes or little motorcycles. But they were on the street with them. And these kids, I bet, neither one of them could be 10 years old. And they darted straight through an intersection. And I thought to myself, when I saw it, luckily I saw them, was able to stop. Anybody else, if they'd have blinked, they'd have creamed these kids. So if y'all got two little daredevils running around Cahaba Heights on those things, you might need to reel your children in. Here's some parenting advice to all the parents that haven't been through it yet. Your kids are pretty much idiots until they prove otherwise. They just are. I know they're your sweet little precious, and you think they're geniuses, but until they turn like 25 and you can have an adult conversation, you don't know if they've made it yet. Because I've seen kids just short circuit, perfectly balanced kids just do some of the dumbest things, especially little boys. And when these new inventions, all these electric, the scooters, the bicycles, the e-bikes, the motorbikes, they're just way faster than they've got the speed of a motorized vehicle, but they're as small as an old bicycle, and it ain't the same. They can be in front of somebody in a minute. Y'all need to police that with your children and in your neighborhood because, there was a time when it was golf carts. People were letting their little kids drive the golf carts around these certain neighborhoods, and I think Shelby County actually had to pass a law forbidding that. And it's not just that they can't drive the thing. You can teach any kid to drive these things. We were driving go-karts and off-road vehicles at that age. They don't have the judgment to be on the roads with the cars. Let me repeat that. They don't have the judgment to be running around your neighborhood like that. So anyway, I saw that and thought I need to bring that up on the show. Somebody needs to rein in that situation, especially I'm going to call it out in the Cahaba Heights area. You got 2 kids that are going to get killed. I'm just saying it. All right, let's do the top of the hour. 545-9950 is the phone number if y'all want to get on the radio. We'll put you on the radio. We'll go back through some of the districts and the maps and the court cases today. There have been 3 significant state court cases, and naturally, Alabama's on the wrong side of one of them. We'll give you the update on that in a minute. More of your phone calls, 545-9950. Lead on live. Back in a minute.